All right, we are back for war number 11. The season is coming to a close, and we are going up against this alliance who is in a language that I do not read. And Platinum 1, Masters right on the line, so every war matters at this point. And I have a Ghost and Elsa war. This is probably the best showcase of Elsa Bloodstone that I've ever been able to put together in one war. So I highly encourage you to stay tuned all the way to the end to see some really cool fights. But we are going to start with Ghost here, and I have never seen Domino on Path 4. And to me, this is surely a trap for someone like Mole Man or Elsa Bloodstone. I think they, who usually take this lane, would have a really tough time here. So we're just going with Ghost. Going to build some power at the end, landed a nice parry at the end of that phase. Just want to be a little careful of getting too many debuffs on me so that she gets Furies on her. Keeping really good track of what's going on here with the phasing. Unfortunately, we get 2 crit fails there, so I do not phase into that special 2. None of the hits crit, and we have to kind of reset our game. There, we're able to bait a special 2. I don't have any debuffs stacking on me, though she does have a Fury from a certain point in the fight. Yeah, she just has lots of Furies, so we need to not make any mistakes here. As you can see, I'm not relying on the Wasp synergy at this point. I didn't quite feel safe going there into my special 2, but here we go. She throws a couple hits into my block, and that time I am able to get her. Of course, she's at 1% health, but fortunately the power back boost did its job, and we're able to get her down. So that was definitely a sketchy fight. A lot of my abilities failed. As you can see, my first special 2 didn't even crit because I wasn't able to phase into it. That's 100% why I always say don't depend on Wasp if you are fighting Domino with Ghost. You just pretend she isn't there and try to basically like step back into your special 2s or, you know, block bait into them like I did those few times, and you are able to get out safely if you just pay a little bit of attention. So now we go back to this very common placement of Void on this node on path 4. Mole Man or Elsa are equally good here. We were having kind of a funny discussion about this the other day. Mole Man is definitely a faster fight, but at that point we're just kind of getting, you know, bickering over details here because this fight is still going to be just about 30 seconds. With Elsa, we did have to bait one special 1, which added a little bit of time, but this combo will take care of it in 25 seconds. And yeah, anyone who can purify all of those non-damaging debuffs and just get tons of passive Furies is going to be fine there. And now we're moving on to the second section of the map. As it ended up, I was taking all of path 4 today. The rest of it is pretty Elsa friendly. And this isn't as straightforward of a matchup as usual because Elsa has no way to shrug bleeds, which are almost undoubtedly going to be put on us by Clairvoyance. Additionally, when she throws her special, we're going to get a couple non-damaging debuffs that will eventually shrug. But overall, like, there are going to be periods that she is unblockable, and we just need to watch out for that and keep track of the fact if we are unblockable, if we can get openings that way. So we start with our normal well-timed block. We're going to end in a light. And now I'm just building up to my special 1. I'm kind of hoping that she doesn't throw her special 1 yet, and she doesn't. So we get this off, and we get the nice precision passive. At that point, I did not dash back, so the indestructible boost came into play. She's degenerating because I'm bleeding. I'm able to utilize my well-timed block there to get an opening without making contact. And as you could see, I was unblockable at that point, so I was able to get in, and at that point, it's over. So really good counter in Elsa Bloodstone there because she can degenerate Clairvoyant when she has a bleed on herself. She can manage the debuffs as they come on her. She can purify them and turn them into crit buffs and all that. It's just a really good fight. You just have to be a little bit more attentive to what's going on since you're not going to be able to shrug those bleeds and you're going to have to deal with unblockable Clairvoyant. Similar story with Invisible Woman. A lot of debuffs are going to be coming our way, so we just really have to pay attention. Really have to pay attention to the invisibility timer as well. She's already unblockable because of all of these exhaustions on us. So I'm just trying to make sure that I can cleanly bait that special. But as you can see, the debuffs have fallen off or been purified. So now I'm the unblockable one, and we're doing plenty of damage. So as you can see, her shield timer is coming off, able to safely block that one. Just being a little careful here because I know that as soon as we get her shield down, she is going to go invisible. So right there, we were able to trigger invisibility by her dexing a hit, which was kind of cool. I didn't anticipate that happening, but because I was on my toes, the invisibility was able to be shrugged pretty quickly, and then I didn't have to worry about it for the rest of the fight. So that was an interesting way. I didn't expect that one to end. But yeah, a lot going on there. You just really need to pay attention to the unblockable, and Elsa's going to do plenty of damage. All right, so this was the fight that scared me the most. I've taken America Chavez on Hazard Shift, where we get a giant damage boost with Ghost. I dueled this fight a lot. Every time in the duel, I was fighting a pretty aggressive America Chavez. And then when we go into these fights, we always get a very defensive one. And I started the fight saying, whatever you do, do not block bait a heavy. And I kept saying that to myself. So we start off the fight. She dashes back. I'm already hitting block, and I baited a heavy, like within the first 10 seconds of the match. And what that does is it put on the dimension, what is it called? Negative zone, which means all of my power gain effects are going to be blunted. So my SIG ability and my power back boost are completely screwed. Now, instead of trying to finish this fight in the whole timer, I still had so much time. I could have tried to build to a special 2 and throw it and just sort of YOLO the end. But what happens here is she throws that special 2 and it is unblockable, and Ghost is absolutely destroyed. So, man, I played this fight back a lot. I was looking at what I could have done better. I dueled this fight a ton and really had a good game plan. Once again, I didn't want to bait any heavies because if she finishes a heavy, she puts on that the purple passive, the negative zone, which means that my power gain, my ability power gain is going to be blunted. And if Ghost doesn't have that, she really doesn't have much of an advantage in this fight. She's got these, buffs that are going to be expiring, giving Mystic Dispersion. If you just don't want to bait a heavy. And so I was distressed by that fight, as it will happen. But on this one, we're building power. I'm just going to try to land an intercept, and we do get an intercept there, and then this special 2 easily kills her, which brought also to my attention that if I had maybe turtled up a little bit at the end of the first fight and tried to just get to my special 2, I could have maybe just thrown the special 2 and hoped it killed her. But either way, I played that very poorly by throwing down block at the end of my phase, right at the very beginning of the fight. It's the second time that she just started dashing back to start the fight when I fought her. Really not fun. Bad interaction, bad play on my part as well, and that led to a death. But I am going to just pause this one before the fight starts. And this fight was one that I was extremely excited about. It's a fight that I've wanted to take for a long time, but was never given the chance, mostly because true focus was on the boss island for so long. But the reason that Elsa so well counters this Terrax on Stunning Reflection and Polka Dot Power is basically her kit is set up to basically counter this node. Because you can well-time block and you can get your openings that way, it's going to allow her to get some openings without needing to parry, without needing to take any block damage. And especially when he's got his rock field going, you don't want to be wasting any time taking blocked hits. Additionally, she does have access to Incinerate, which not only helps with the polka dot power, but it helps by turning off the stunning reflection so that then you can parry and do some big damage during some stuns. And additionally, she can shrug / purify the armor breaks that are going to be coming onto you, which are going to pretty much give you even more damage and prevent him from doing more damage to you from those armor breaks, if you get hit. So it's just this sort of perfect kit, even though we don't see her very often here. And that was why I was just excited to give this one a try. So even though I just experienced that death, this was a fight that I was very much looking forward to. And we'll start rolling the clip again right about now. So here we go. We're going to start off the fight with my game plan being throw down a well-timed block and then do 2 mediums. So we do that. Of course, he throws a heavy out of nowhere. So I threw the mediums first. At this point, the stunning reflection is down. We reparry. I just heavy attacked, which crit for a ton. There, I kind of intercepted him after a heavy, really good reaction time there. So the rock field is down. I'm going to bait this special 1, keeping an eye on my stunning reflection timer, but also knowing that if I throw down a well-timed block, I'm going to be able to counter evade him. As you see, I do it there. Another medium puts on the incinerate. So I'm trying to build up to a special 2. I want to try to throw it while he's stunned, but I kind of messed up the timing there. So now here we go again. We're going to kind of do the same cycle. I have my evade if needed. I know that if I try to parry him, it'll save me. Taking a little bit of damage in the corner, but there we do a bank and get a light off, which ends in a medium. We get another incinerate, and the fight is looking pretty good now. So I just need to be careful one more time in the corner. And I think I do take a couple hits here. Something happened there. I just kind of dropped an input, but I did have 2 bars of power, and that special 2 is able to kill him. So yeah, to me, that's about as clean as it can get against Terrax there, who can be a little bit of a problem. I see people throw Cable on that fight. I see people using Clairvoyant on that fight. It's not quite as much of a problem now that Protect is gone. But it's just so nice to see Elsa unleash on that node, because this to me is like an illustration of the fact that her kit does work very well for some very specific scenarios. And we saw today, yes, she has the Path 4 stuff, which is arguably, she and Moleman kind of share that throne as the best champion for Path 4. But when it comes to like a scary Terrax on that type of node where things can certainly go wrong, she really just owned that fight, and I was really happy to see that. So anyway, this war ended up being another loss for us. We are on a little bit of a tear in the opposite direction of the tear that you want to go on. So we're in Platinum 1, and that's okay. The rewards for Platinum 1 are very good, and I think we played like a Platinum 1 alliance overall. It was never the same people. It was never the same battle group. It was just we couldn't get any wars together toward the end where everyone was firing on all cylinders and just everything lined up. Got some very, very tough matchups, some really close ones that could have gone either way. And that's okay. That's okay. We've learned a lot. We stayed in Tier 1. We fought. We battled. And the officers in my battle group worked really hard to do the best we could to set up people for success. And yeah, so we are going into the last war of the season knowing that we just want to win to kind of increase our war rating, but that is probably not going to make much of a difference. But that said, I did have a lot of fun this war. I wish I could just get a mulligan on that America Chavez, because I know if I just went in one more time, I probably would have gotten the solo like it had worked in the practices. She is a pretty lethal defender, because as you can see, I just made one little mistake at the beginning that completely threw away all of Ghost's abilities, which was a huge drag, and that can happen. So anyway, thanks again for checking this one out. We have one more war video coming out pretty soon for war number 12, and then we'll do a war summary, a war rewards opening, probably some more streaming coming up in the next couple weeks, and some more exciting stuff from this channel as we move closer and closer to off season. So thanks again for your support. It's always a pleasure to share this with you, and hope you learned something, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.